or whatever he may choose to do. Welcome, Merced Solis, otherwise known as Tito Santana, and the choices you have made are pretty remarkable. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me here.
You know, your story is amazing. It deserves a book. In fact, you just recently wrote one. And I want to, you know, we were looking at your story and kind of getting a feel for your life. And I feel like the only way to begin is at the beginning. And that would be, you began as a migrant worker as a child. Talk to me a little bit about how you went from being a migrant worker to being a Hall of Famer.
Well, I was very lucky throughout life. Being a migrant worker was not an easy life. And,
Sure.
At a very young age, I just would think to myself when I was about 6 or 7 years old, you know, I don't like being a migrant worker. I need to get an education. And, and I would ask my mom, and my mom says, well, we don't really have money to send you to college. And, you know, then I had an 8th grade coach that got me involved in sports and ended up getting a football scholarship. And, you know, as a matter of fact, I played for the
Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs as a free agent. And I'm glad to see him, you know, going to the Super Bowl again.
And so, I mean, there's two things to break down there. Number one, we're looking at pictures of yourself, and we're looking at you as a child, as a migrant worker. Then we see you as a football player. You said an 8th grade coach said something to you that changed your life. What did he say to you?
Well, he's the one that tried to get me, you know, I could have gone the wrong way, but he's the one that got me interested in sports. He tried when I was in 8th grade, and I didn't go for it. And then I saw him again when I was a freshman. And then he introduced me to the freshman football coach, and that time I was ready to go after it. And, you know, I started playing my freshman year, and I really didn't start going to school full time until I was a freshman in high school. We used to always be
working
up north working, yeah.
So you could have gone the route of football, but instead, you went a very different direction again. And talk to me a little bit about how Vince ended up playing an instrumental role in your life.
Well, it was actually our quarterback at West Texas State in college was Tully Blanchard, who was also a professional. I think he's also in the Hall of Fame. His father was a promoter in San Antonio. I was born and raised in Texas. And Andre the Giant, I'm sure you know who Andre the Giant is.
Sure.
He helped me get to New York. He brought a tape. We were together in Amarillo, Texas, and he brought a tape on his way from Texas to New York. And before you know it, I'm on my way to New York, and, you know, it was the biggest break in my life.
You know, you're holding your book. I'm going to take this book right here. Okay, I like the name because it says, "Don't call me Chico. Don't call me Chico." And I was like, you know, that sounds familiar. And I was like, you know what? I know where that title comes from. And I recall you were going up against someone who went on to be the governor.
Jesse the Body, yeah.
Let's talk about Ventura. So Ventura actually says to you what? What happened there that made you say, "Don't call me Chico"?
Well, Jesse the Body used to call me Chico, you know, when he was doing the commentating. By that time, he was doing the commentating. Right. And you know, Jesse could talk. I mean, you'd give him the mic, and he could talk. But when he was doing the commentating, I was always busy traveling on the road, so I wasn't watching the matches. And when I'd get to the arenas, the fans were hollering, "Hey, Chico!" And they were they were getting me upset because I thought they were insulting me. And then I happened to be in a hotel watching the wrestling show, and I see the commentating that Jesse the Body's doing, and I hear him call me Chico, and I said, "That's where Chico comes from."
And you say, "Mira, no me hablas así." Your Spanish has come in handy today. You are now a Spanish teacher for youngsters in New Jersey, and I think it's a full circle story where a teacher ended up influencing you, and now you're doing the same. Talk to me about that.
Well, you know, he was a big influence. I decided to go into education, and I said, if I could touch one person the way that coach made a difference in my life, you know, I want to go into education. And I believe nowadays they need role models like myself more than ever. You know, so I feel like I make a big difference with a lot of these kids, you know, because a lot of these kids don't have much.
You know, you're an inspiration to children. You're an inspiration to those who don't have much, and to Mexicanos. I know my hermanos grew up watching you, and so you really, the things you have accomplished, they deserve a book. We can't do it justice in just a couple minutes, but people can go meet you because you have another book signing coming up. Talk to me about where people can come, get the book, meet you, and get a signed copy.
Well, if they want to order it, they can go to TitoSantana.com and order it. I have an upcoming signing at California Pizza in the Willowbrook Mall.
Okay.
Next Monday, the 27th, from 5 to 8. I'll be signing books and you know, eating pizza with the fans. And when I meet the fans, I like to do these signings because, you know, they have some great stories that they remember that I forgot already, and they remind me of my life.
Well, what a life it's been. Tito Santana, we so appreciate you coming in.